Hello all, and welcome to tonight's beer review, which I am calling the Hiccup Beer Review. Why? Because, I was starting to review it, and then I started coughing. And of course I gave myself the hiccups, and it usually takes me about an hour or two for hiccups to subside for me, and that would take too long for me to wait before drinking this beer, because it's already 11:30 at night. So, and hiccups doesn't really go and interfere with your tasting apparatus, namely your nose and your tongue. Though, yeah, maybe, some beer. Oh, lordy. So, what are we reviewing tonight? We are reviewing Sierra Nevada's 2017 Beer Camp Raspberry Sundae. This was by the Bruery. This is an ale brewed with lactose, cocoa, vanilla, and raspberry. I'm kind of rolling the dice on this beer because, as I've mentioned before, I'm lactose intolerant, so, beers with lactose added are always rolling the dice for me, as people who are lactose intolerant understand. So, this is 8.0 ABV. Let's read the back, shall we? The brewery in Orange County is famous for its experimental Belgian-style and barrel-aged beers, and this release fits nicely in their wheelhouse. Inspired by the flavors of an ice cream sundae, this rich blonde ale features cocoa, vanilla, and raspberry, with lactose added for extra creaminess. Now you can have your dessert and drink it too. Blonde ale, I don't know. This one kind of, when they make a beer like this and say it's nominally an imperial stout, it's nominally an oatmeal stout, it's nominally a blonde ale. It's like, no, just don't even try to go and stick it within the style. Just say you're experimenting, and let that be that, So, lactose, cocoa, vanilla, and raspberry. Now, on Beer Advocate, this one was probably the most controversial one out of the box set. And, oh boy, I can probably smell why already. I'm giving it maybe a little bit over vigorous pour. Oh shit. This day just don't get much worse than this, eh? So, not really blonde ale body, considering that it's almost a golden red. Or red gold. A lot more carbonated than I was expecting. I was expecting almost, a lot less. So, we got ourselves a massive head here. And it's a little bit frothy, fizzy, but probably because I gave too vigorous a pour for it. Let's go and sniff it, shall we? And this really brings back, remember that review I did a while back of the Ben & Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream review? Yeah, it smells really close to that. Kind of got vanilla, but it doesn't really smell like an ice cream sundae. It smells more doughy to me. There's some fruitiness from the raspberry. Not much, though. Definitely can smell that cocoa, smell the vanilla. That's the main notes I smell there. It smells, as you can imagine, sweet. But again, more doughy rather than creamy smelling. And wow, there's a lot of residual sugar in this. Almost cloyingly sweet in the front. I don't think the lactose is really adding creaminess so much as intensifying that sweetness even more. In the front, you get a very quick raspberry before that chocolate kicks in. Very much a milk chocolate, as you can expect. Sweetness, probably lactose too. Goes in through the mids. kind of doughy in the finish with a slight hop bittering aspect to it. Remnant taste on the tongue afterwards is a bit like a chocolate aftertaste. I can't get over how sweet this is. It's one of the most sweet beers I've ever had. Very much a dessert beer. To be honest, the raspberry doesn't kind of show up too much. Just that brief flash there in the front. Maybe slight hints in the back, you know, in that finish underneath the chocolate. But generally a lot of chocolate from the front, mids, and into the finish. Slight hints of vanilla. And then kind of an afterthought of hot bitterness there. I don't know. It's just not striking me, people. It's just not striking me for much of the same reason that the Ben & Jerry's one didn't strike me. In that, okay, great, you've got these flavors that you've said are in there on, you know, on the label, in the beer. But as a beer, it's, you know, there's not much there as a beer. Some doughy malts, some, you know, nondescript hopping in the back end, and you're just kind of like, well, that's great that you've done this, but, you know, even more so from, you know, Ben & Jerry's one, this does not evoke a raspberry sundae from me. And I don't think anyone should be like trying to evoke, well, maybe in an imperial stout or something like that, but even then you kind of want to put the ice cream in it to make a float, not so much as evoke the ice cream. To be honest, actually tossing a scoop of vanilla, you know, high-end vanilla ice cream might actually improve this a bit. And give it that creaminess instead of what I'm perceiving more as just sweetness. So I guess you can kind of go and classify me as one of the nays on this one. So yeah, that doesn't mean I'm trashing the brewery here. I'd love to go and try some of their other beers. It's just, you know, this ice cream beer thing it's not working for me, folks. It's just not working. But hey, that's been just 2 meh beers out of the many so far, including some that have blown me out of the park here. Have, you know, knocked me out of the park here, out of the beer camp, you know, so just push the, you know, it's nice after pushing the limits. And like I said, this is drinkable. It's not a drain pour by any means. I'm going to finish this. I would never actively seek out to drink it again, much like the Ben & Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough one, but you know, once it's in the glass in front of me, I'll finish it. You know? That's your beer review for tonight, folks. Raspberry Sundae. Cheers.